All right. Thank you all so much again for being a part of our quarterly affiliate meeting where we will discuss policy briefing. This is our policy briefing meeting. We appreciate your support and your participation. We are membership based. I see a spelling error. Please forgive us. I will definitely fix it. We do know how to spell. Just a typo, but I'll make sure we fix our PowerPoints moving forward. Thank you again for joining us. I would love to turn it over to our beautiful board chairwoman, Ms. Debbie Hillman.
Thank you so much, Tatiana. We are thrilled to be here. And what better time to look at legislative policy? It is October. In fact, I think it's October, November. It's election season. And so certainly we are calling this meeting to order and trying to make it through these last few days, this last week before General Election Day. Thank you for coming, and we are looking forward to an awesome meeting tonight. Why are we meeting? Because we want to have a community listening session that helps us figure out what our policy priorities are going to be for the 2025 Georgia legislative session. This is the opportunity provided to all of our attendees to let us know what you want us to pay attention to, because we know there are a number of issues impacting Black children. So we want to target and advocate on behalf of our children, families, and communities. The agenda is before us. We've just done our call to order. We're going to spend a little time addressing our organizational overview, who we are, what we do, and the BCDI 8 essential outcomes, followed immediately by our listening session and concluding the evening with Q&A. Next slide, please. Tatiana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chairwoman Debbie. So we are Black Child Development Institute Atlanta, but we are just one of the affiliates from National Black Child Development Institute. So we are a village of thought leaders that support and advocate for Black children. But for us, our mission is to improve and advance the quality of life for Black children and families in Georgia through education and advocacy. So today we will talk about our advocacy work.
Greetings.
You're on mute.
Okay. Ms. Debbie. Okay. We want to today we will primarily focus on the advocacy work, but this is a call to action opportunity. You know, we want to make sure as we're looking at these policies, trying to come up with different ways that we can support and advocate for our families. We work under 4 key focus areas as well as policy. Policy is one of our key focus areas, but the policies are embedded within our family engagement as well as our early care and education, in addition to our literacy programs. We have our board of directors here. We have Ms. Debbie Hillman, our chairwoman, Margaret McCall, our vice chairwoman. I am Tatiana Elmore, and I am your treasurer as well as your interim president. We are still in the process of conducting our search for your permanent president, and we hope to have more information for you soon regarding your new president. We also have Ms. Brittany McDuffie, who serves as our secretary. We have Ms. Bridget Willis and Nathan Thompson, as well as Dr. Keon Berry, who are our members at large. In our previous meeting at 5 o'clock, we had our annual business meeting where we opened up our applications for board members. We currently have a vacancy in our members at large slot, but each year, all of our positions are up for renewal and must be voted on. So my treasurer role, as well as chairwoman and secretary, each year we have the opportunity to bring in new faces, new voices to support our board. So if you are interested, please visit our website. Under About Us, you'll click on the Career and Opportunities tab to submit your application. We have extended the deadline because we wanted to make sure we come before you to answer any questions regarding our board positions, your responsibilities, and who we are looking for. As we're looking for board members, we're looking for someone who is skilled in fundraising, has a knowledge of policy and advocacy work, and is a leader in the early education community. We have a dynamic team of 2. We have our operations coordinator, Miss Ashley, and our administrative coordinator, Miss Lubna. They work day to day to ensure that all of our programs and services run smoothly, and also assist with reporting and social media and all things needed to make sure that we have a successful organization. I'm going to turn it over to Ashley to discuss our membership opportunities.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello again to some of you. Hello for the first time for the evening to the others. I am Ashley Williams, as Tatiana said, and I just want to remind you all that we are a membership-led organization. We really value our partnership with our stakeholders and our community members. You all really help us meet you where the needs are, with children and their families and the community. And so we want to remind you to use that Glue Up platform that National rolled out last year. Glue Up is where we come together as a community where you can manage your membership, create one, renew it, and also we might start playing with some features on there. So just be on the lookout, make sure your emails are up to date. All your contact information is also up to date. For those who are looking to be a part of the board, as Tatiana was talking about, you have to be an active member. So make sure you are checking your status. And if it is up for renewal, please renew as soon as possible on that Glue Up platform. If you are having any questions or concerns about Glue Up, please let me know. Also, as of today, 347 members are active. That is not including the people that need to do their renewals. I'm going to keep saying renewals so you guys remember. And so we just want to say thank you for all of the assistance, the impact, the conversation, the involvement that you all have had with us throughout the year. We really do not take it lightly at all. I just want to do also a quick reminder of the benefits. We have our summit coming up. One of the biggest benefits of being a member for BCDI Atlanta is your 15% off, okay? Do not leave money on the table. I know how much we love getting together, love engaging and networking and learning and developing. So please, please, please set reminders. Registration is open now on Eventbrite on our website, so make sure you are not leaving money on the table for 15% off of members. So if you want to become a member to get your 15% off, that's something you can do. Also, access to resources. We are working on a resource guide that covers everything from mental health to physical wellness to farmers markets, social services, learning activities, resources in the community, everything you think you need. We're going to make sure we are the hub, as my nephew likes to say, the plug for what you need in the community. So that resource guide is going to be available to you really soon. While you wait for that, we also have additional resources such as our activity guides and things like that on the website as well. So just a few reminders of why you should join. If you are becoming a new member, this will be really exciting for you. A part of that welcome email you get will be your personalized digital membership card. If you are a current member, and I know we've had conversations, guys, about where's my card? When am I going to get a card? You will get your card, hard copy at the summit, okay? So we will make sure everyone who is an active member, don't forget to renew, has their card when we get to the summit. But if you are just joining us, if you are sending someone our way, if you're wanting them to plug into what we have going on, they will get a personalized custom card, and that is the design on the screen. Thank you so much to our marketing team for hooking us up with that. And I'm going to turn it back over.
Thank you, Ashley. We had the amazing opportunity to conduct our very first Network Village tour. We had some of our national VPs come down and visit and fellowship with us on today. It has been a long but rewarding day. We're so excited for this opportunity because we were able to have our partners, our members, as well as our board be a part of this conversation to share some insight as to why and how they support BCDI Atlanta each and every day. I want to take a moment to see if anyone who did attend the Network Village tour would like to come off mute and share maybe something they learned that they didn't know, or just share some insight on how this event impacted them. And I can't see. All right. Well, we will move right along.
Oh,
But
I can say something very quickly. Hi, Tatiana and BCDI Village. This is Alicia Hardy, the VP from Policy and Research at the National Office. It was a phenomenal day of touring the Head Start facilities, seeing the babies, really hearing from the deep community partnerships that you all have built, hearing from your board, hearing about the programs, the activities, the ways that you are advocating for better policies. It has been a long day, but it was very energizing to hear the work that you all are doing, that you all are imagining, creating, working on, and have done. I just want to say, thank you for that experience, for the delicious food as well, and just some really great table conversations ranging from mental health to what are the specific needs of Black children and families, how we want to show up for our communities, the importance of engaging parents, community partners, and how this work is not done on your own, but in partnership. So I just really appreciate you all opening your spaces and hearts and minds and everything, and sharing that with us and allowing us to be present. So just thank you so much.
yes, thank you all so much for initiating this, because it was a wonderful opportunity for us to go into one of our programs. We had the chance to go visit McIntosh Trails Head Start in Covington, Georgia, where we currently have one of our Expand ECE coaches, in addition to 6 Expand ECE fellows. Our fellows have come through support from having an assigned coach to help them succeed while they're going back to school to finish their academic credentials. I see a hand raised. Nathan, would you like to share?
Yes, I would also second everything you said, Alicia, and I think it was a phenomenal day. And first of all, good food. I brought some home, just had some on our break. Shared some with my wife. Thank you for lunch and dinner. But going to the school at McIntosh Trails was amazing, and hearing I think of it as like, boots on the ground kind of work, where we have these virtual meetings and we have like a higher perspective of things, but being at a school and seeing the children happy and joyful and learning, and hearing from the coach and her amazing speech that she gave us in the hallway, and meeting people, and also just being with you all, and meeting some new friends, and hanging out with some friends, I won't say old friends, they're not, because I'm older than some of them, so it's not about age, but you know what I mean, the silver and gold. So it was just a good opportunity to be in person. I enjoyed the tour of the Rice Center, and the bus ride, and the tour of just everything. And that was my first time at that restaurant. So thank you for the opportunity, and just had fun today.
Thank you, Nathan. And remember, Nathan Thompson is one of our board members. And I think NBCDI may have created something that we may want to continue in the potential future, because just being, as Nathan and Alicia and everyone has shared, being in that space and seeing the children, seeing our fellows interact with the children. We had an opportunity to witness our Good For Me curriculum led by our Expand ECE coach, Lakeisha McClendon. We had the opportunity to meet with our some of our board, Miss Margaret. She works to support them. We have Dr. Sheila Thomas now. She was able to be there, but she's a part of our advisory committee as well. So to be able to go to a program that we have truly impacted from many, many years ago, as Debbie was one of their technical assistants during one of our programs, it was really good to continue to see our relationship continue to grow and evolve. I would like to give Reverend McKinley an opportunity to speak. He has his hand raised.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tatiana. And I want to just echo some of the comments that I've heard already and just celebrate the entire BCDI Atlanta team for the wonderful work that you all are doing. It has been a phenomenal day, from having the opportunity to see the beautiful Rice Center and to visit McIntosh Trails. And I also want to comment on just the richness of the conversations that we've had over the course of the day with the partners that you all continue to engage through the work of your village. It's clear that BCDI Atlanta is doing really important work on behalf of Black children and families in early childhood. And it is also clear that your partners are thinking with you about ways that that work can expand, ways that Atlanta can have deeper partnerships. And so I am just excited about the energy that we felt all day. I am really excited about the new opportunities that lie ahead. And I just want to take an opportunity just to really express sincere thanks for your hospitality and the warm welcome that you have extended to our national office team.
Thank you, Reverend McKinley. We truly appreciate, again, having this opportunity to bring everyone together. In the past, we've had in-person events for our affiliate meeting, but I think you all may have started a new trend for us here in BCDI Atlanta. And with that being said, this could potentially give us an opportunity to spread across the state of Georgia, because we do understand we are the affiliate location, but we service and support the entire state of Georgia. So thank you all for creating such a unique opportunity that we may potentially copyright and borrow for ourselves in the future. But thank you all so much for participating, everyone that did join us, your feedback, and we're glad that you enjoyed your Pascals.
Tatiana,
Yes.
I'll just say one of the things that we did in the past historically was to go out to other parts of the state and host some BCDI meetings. We went to Augusta and Savannah and actually hosted our BCDI monthly meeting there, because we used to meet every month. And so that was something that we have done. We enjoyed it because it gave us an opportunity to interact with other parts of the state who also enjoyed the BCDI work.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Debbie. So I'm signing you up to join the committee.
I've planned them before when we didn't have nearly as many people, so that won't be a problem.
Awesome. Thank you. Great. So now, thank you, Ms. Debbie. We're going to turn it over to you so you can discuss how we continue to support NBCDI 8 Essential Outcomes for Black Children Development within the work that we do here in the state of Georgia.
Okay. Thank you, Tatiana. One of the goals of this month's meeting is also to ensure that all of us realize that we are part of a network. The network called MBCDI created something called the 8 Essential Outcomes for Black Child Development, looking at not just what our children are missing, because all too often we are operating, it seems, or we're cast into almost a desert climate where people are saying, everybody's drowning. Our children are not drowning. Our children are excelling. They are excelling because we are looking at them through different lenses. So as we think about our children, you have before you 8 essential outcomes that take a Afrofuturistic view. So if you think about our children, one of the things we want to look at is what happens in the early care and education space. How are children viewed? Our children are children and deserve to be looked at in that way, both developmentally and culturally. Looking at how they should be allowed to play, to laugh, to enjoy themselves. And so the narratives through which we talk about our children and others talk about our children tend to shape their social, emotional, physical, and adult roles. Educationally, are our children attending a school that affirms and expands them, not beats them up or puts them down? When they go into the school, does it look like they were expected? Years ago, when the anti-bias curriculum came out, one of the things that was discussed was, when I walk into the space, do I see myself? And that's what we want to do here in the state of Georgia as part of this larger network. Safe communities. Where do our children live? If they are going to achieve their maximum outcomes, they have to be in a community that uplifts them, where they can play, explore, and thrive. Thriving being that ultimate experience on their behalf. So that's one of the things that's directly linked to our advocacy role, our look at our legislative priorities. What do we want for our children at the local level, state, and federally? And how is it going to impact our children, their needs, the needs of their families? How do we promote the improvement of child welfare systems, focusing on early intervention and activities that are culturally relevant? Next slide. Children being born at a healthy weight. Because what do we know? That a child who is born at a healthy weight gets to go home from the hospital with their parents. A child who is at low birth weight, in some instances, succumbs to that birth. And even if they don't succumb, we know that it can cause learning deficits later. It means that that child may not be able to enter into that bonding experience that's so necessary in building trust and feeling safe and feeling okay about their environments. Promoting perinatal initiatives, supporting paid leave for families to improve family engagement. Again, what are our legislative priorities as it relates to Black children? Nutrition. Many of our children live in food deserts, wherein they don't have grocery stores. They don't have a lot of healthy food choices in their community. Some of us are already working with programs like WIC to try to ensure that our children have access, because so much of the difference between the haves and the have-nots is directly related to access. So we want to produce quality. We want to have preventive care services among families. Next slide. Representation. Do our children see themselves when the book is open? Do they see themselves when they go over into the dramatic play area? Do they see themselves on the signage outside the building? Does the curriculum meet their needs? Does it include things that are part of that particular child's home? So those are focus areas. And when we pull together those focus areas throughout our classroom programming, we want to make sure that we are in fact highlighting all of those areas. But then let's go to the next slide. And so as we prepare for the next slide, I'm going to turn it over to Tatiana so we can talk about how we connect those maximum outcomes to what's going on in terms of what's in the life of our children. Tatiana?
Thank you, Miss Debbie. And so as a part of our meeting today, each year we want to make sure that we gather you all to hear your voices, but to also seek ways of support. So a part of our listening session today, it will be engaging. We will do a breakout session so we can come back with a concrete plan to make sure that we're continuing to advocate for our families and children. While I'm transitioning, do we have any questions, staff and team, that came up in the chat that we can answer while I'm pulling up our breakout activity?
No.
Okay, awesome. So give me just a moment. I am going to share my screen and share our breakout activity for today. So what our goal for today is, we're going to review some potential identified key legislative priorities that support early learning, family engagement, and literacy for Black children and families in Georgia. A part of our work under our focus area of policy is being a part of various coalitions that partner with organizations very similar to ours, where we can come together once a month or quarterly to discuss how we can advocate and support policies that support our families and children. We have a group with Gears. We also are part of the group with Southern Education Foundation. Sharon and I had an amazing opportunity to speak at the MDC State of the South, which is a convening of like-minded individuals who are out here doing the legwork and the hard work of researching and putting together legislative priorities to support Black children and families. That event was so eye-opening, down to the point where we had an opportunity to learn how the highways in Georgia were designed to separate Black people from other races. And me being from Chicago and learning that was very eye-opening, because you're like, a highway divides, who we are with the other people, but we want to continue to be a part of these conversations. So as we're developing our programs, we can start from a policy aspect, conduct the research to make sure that we're able to strongly support these policies, and then we turn to our program and services to enforce advocacy for those programs, for those policies. So we are going to look at some of the identified areas that was communicated during a lot of these focus group conversations. As we're going into breakout sessions, we want you all to work together to develop strategies for advocating for these priorities with state policy makers. As a result of this, we hope to build a shared understanding of the importance of these issues that impact our Black communities. So the activity is, as I mentioned, we're going to go into groups. You're going to see three breakout sessions, not sessions, but three groups that will come up. We're going to have early learning, literacy, as well as family engagement that we're going to put you into. We want you all to work together as a team to develop a plan of action. As you're looking at and we'll share the bills that you'll look at. As you're looking at the bills that are within your work group, we're allowing you the opportunity to look and see where we sit on those various bills to see if, you know what, they may have selected this one, but I think we should focus on this other one. As Ms. Debbie said in the beginning of this presentation, you have the opportunity to help support, I'm sorry, to help, thank you, help and support how we are going to advocate in 2025. As we come back from the group, we're going to have one person from each group summarize the action plans and share in the large group, because we're going to take this feedback and create some next steps and some action items that we can do to make sure that we are fully advocating and supporting our Black children and families in Georgia. And so here we have our 2024 legislative priorities that was conducted on October 17th during our last policy briefing. We did have the opportunity to make sure that our advocacy goals align with NBCDI's 8 essential outcomes for Black children. So as you will continue to see, when we're putting our focus areas up, we want you to see how each of those 8 essential outcomes fall within our focus area. As I mentioned in our business meeting, but I'm also going to mention here, currently we are operating successfully 6 of the 8 essential outcomes, but we're working really hard to make sure that we can get partners and community advocates to help us support around the climate, which ensures that children have clean air and clean water, as well as internet safety, ensuring that children are able to play safe on the internet. So as you are part of our community, if you have resources or if you're an expert in one or the other focus area, essential outcome, please share that resource with us, because we want to make sure that we are supporting all 8 of NBCDI's 8 essential outcomes as we continue our partnership, our relationship as a village here in Atlanta, but the state of Georgia. So last year, these were the bills that we supported. And what we did is we just went in and took a look at the bills to provide an update on where they are, to see if there's room for us to continue to advocate, to continue to hit the pavement and really trying to make these bills become live and active to support our families. So you will all receive a copy of the handout so you can have access to this information for future references. But once we come back from the groups, you will receive on our website, we will update our new bills that we will support for 2025. So as we look at some, there was a few that didn't have any movement from years ago, and some that were withdrawn and recommitted to other areas. But we wanted to make sure that we at least provided you with an update as to where these bills are. So a part of our work with the different coalition groups, these were some of the bills that were shared in regards to areas of support. So today, as you join your breakout groups, depending upon which group you join, these are the 3 bills that you will focus on. Again, we are not limited to the 6 that you, the 9 that you see here. We want to make sure that if you see one that is closer aligned, or if you see one that has some good movement on it, then please be willing to share those, because we want to make sure that we're supporting and advocating as best as we can based on what we have, what resources we have. The website here we will place in the chat. legis.ga.gov is a wonderful resource where you can go and research and learn more about the different policies that are coming up for review. This is a great website to increase your knowledge in supporting legislation. You also have the opportunity to search and find your legislator in the event that you would like to contact them, invite them to come out and speak at any of our events, or to just simply build relationships with them so we can create and make that action plan live to be more engaging with our legislation. And so right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. We're going to place the handout in the chat. It's already there. Thank you, Lubna. Also, the website to look and review the bills. Once we finalize the document will have live links that will lead you back to the LEGIS website, the legislative website, to make sure that you can continue to see how these bills are moving. We'll give you about 20 minutes in the breakout sessions. We'll come back out. We'll do a debrief. We're asking each group to assign a reporter to report out, because we are recording this. We are documenting and making notes because we want your opinion, your feedback to make this live as we're preparing for 2025. So I'm gonna pause there and see if there are any questions before we move into the breakout. And team, Ms. Debbie, please let me know if I missed something before we go into our groups. I'm excited. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much. We're going to go ahead and open the breakout sessions. You will get a 1-minute reminder. Please make sure as soon as you join your group, you assign a reporter so they can report back to us. We want real action steps. What can BCDI do? What are some of the community partners that we can work with? Who you know in the legislative office that we can connect with, any resources or any actionable items that we can truly do to be more active as we're now moving from policy to research to programming. We want to make sure that this conversation truly supports Black children and families in Georgia. Welcome back. Welcome back. How was it?
It was awesome.
It was deep. It got deep for a minute.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Good. Who was that, Miss Elarge?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we were able to see you in action today. Miss Elarge McKenzie is one of our ECE fellows. We saw her rocking and rolling with her children today. Keep up the amazing work. We want to continue to advocate for policies and grant opportunities to continue to support our family, children, educators, and stakeholders each and every day. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick debrief from each group. We had room 1 was early learning. Room 2 was family engagement. Room 3 was literacy. Okay. And so as you were in your sessions, we wanted you to come up with some strategies to help us advocate for either the proposed bills that we are working with across the different task force that we are collaborating with, but to also see if, one group said, yeah, no, this don't apply to us because it's secondary, but then they also saw that it was elementary, and we do support children birth to birth to age 8. So that does include some elementary support. As you're thinking about advocacy strategies, there are some things that we can do, such as lobbying, testimonies. We are a part of different coalition groups where we, again, came up with some of these bills, and there are many more to follow. But we want to see what were some of your advocacy strategies that you were able to come up with to help us increase our advocacy work to support policies for Black children and families in Georgia. So we'll start with room 1, early learning. We'll do about 2 to 3 minutes. If you could just share any action items that you may or may not have come up with.
Well, one of the things that I do want to ask, hi, this is Sheila Thompson. One of the things I want to make, because I know you just talked about a minute ago, is in the bill, because bill number 1, the student teaching, and bill number 2, the quality-based acts, both of them had the elementary. And we was really torn between the word that we did not see early care education. Our understanding is that if it's in elementary, it's going to show, but it's not going to give the early learning teachers the same respect as for the pre-K to 5th grade, and the other one was kindergarten to 5th. So when we look at a bill, how would we determine that money's sake, or you know, the policy that's going to reflect our early learning and development? So we was torn between those two because of the disconnect for both of them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Sheila, for your feedback. We actually had an opportunity to speak to Miss Alicia Harding while you were all in the break room, because we understand that this may be something new for us. We do know that we discuss it each October to plan our legislative priorities, but at the same time, you still need to understand what is HB versus SB. What is, you know, what does it mean when it said first read versus what does second read mean? What does it mean? So we want to make sure that we provide opportunities to educate us, so we are aware of that muddy, you know, stuck in the middle conversation, or just the language. One thing that we've noticed as being a part of these coalition groups is they lean on BCDI a lot for early learning advocacy. A lot of the groups that we work with, aside from GEARS, it's elementary and up. So every time, whether it's me or Miss Sharon on a call, they're like, we didn't think about that, because one of our standpoints is teacher salaries and early learning programs, but we didn't see any policy around that except for Georgia pre-K. And so that's where we can say, well, we don't see any bills that are related to this. How can we, and who can we reach out to? So that can be one of our action items. Yes, it says Quality Basic Education Act, but can this committee add language and resources and support around early education? So that's why this conversation is important to have. So when we're in these task force and these coalition groups, we can say, hey, wait, there's not enough early learning. Maybe we're not in the right group. So thank you for bringing that up, Sheila.
Right. So I think, the wording, if they could change the wording, add it, we need to have it. You're correct.
We need to see
Number
it.
3, we did agree. One of the things is making sure all the programs, the pre-K programs, the teachers must be certified. We know that they do tell us that the pre-K teachers can be lead teachers with a bachelor degree, but we also want to make sure that the teachers are certified with the bachelor degree.
Yes,
As
absolutely.
well as also adding some of the special education components, because we know in early education, we need that special education, you know, to be also with those degrees, as well as reaching out to the universities, regardless of what a university, but reaching out to them, working with them also on what strategic planning we could do for these students to receive the certification. With, again, we have to add this special education endorsements, or autism, something like that, literacy for once, all of these things that I think we can add to these policies and say, we need this in these policies, so we can get those fundings for our
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Sheila. We are definitely taking note, and we'll make sure that we look into, as you're sharing, special education resources as well.
Mhm.
Thank you. Room number 2, family engagement.
All right, I'll hop on quickly, and please, group members, please jump in. Like Dr. Sheila Thompson had just shared, a lot to unpack, trying to figure out the wording. We need a lobbyist for interpretation. This is not something that we look at a lot, so just trying to understand the verbiage that was there, and then trying to see how different things were available, amendments, considerations, and then you had to go to research what the line items were to see what you're even talking about to consider as you move forward. But with the first one for family engagement, the 1037, we looked at that, and we did make a correlation with NBCDI having the mother mortality already, that was already a month allocated for that, so we felt really good about that. And when we delved into it a little more deeply, we saw that it had been voted on and approved, so it was a vote of 160 to there were 0 people that voted no, so that was something that had already passed. So we'll have to look at the wording again to make sure of what the consensus was, and the good parts to take out to hold them accountable for the implementation of it. But that just happened this past legislative session, that February 2024. So exciting news on that regard. Then with the next one, that's where we went into a few circles and jumped off, and then had to get back on again to figure out with the Leave No Child Hungry Act. So we were very excited to see the wording and see that more children that look like that would be taken under the consideration with the being able to have access to meals while in a public setting. But then we got hung up with the wording because it said elementary and secondary public locations, and so we were trying to understand that. And then it said free meals, and so we were just trying to understand who would be eligible for this, what are the budget implications on it, and who would we need to partner with to help facilitate something like that for it to go out. But we did go in circles on it for a while, trying to understand if it was in a public setting, wouldn't it be a requirement to already give meals? So that's what we were trying to understand, the dynamics of that, and try to dial it down. Again, piggybacking off of what Sheila Thompson said about early childhood, making sure that that we have our space and we can take part in that. I know some programs serve serve school age children, but not all programs do. And so trying to figure out how we can work with that. And so we would definitely need some assistance with that, but that bill had not been voted on. And then when we got to the last one, the temporary assistance for needy families, we talked again about having different relationships with other people that are helping, but we didn't get to go deeper into that one because we took more time on the second one. But trying to understand to the degree of being a resource and have all these other things available for people that we come in contact with and their families, and seeing how we can assist them, and not to burn out on the people who are volunteering, because that's what you're already doing anyway, is already doing these things. And sometimes there's not a separation, there's not a healthy barrier for you to be able to assist and then offload it for someone else to help them with the other part of the way. But I don't think that bill had been brought up or voted on either. And my apologies, and I'll pause to see if any other team members want to jump in and add some more notes about the things that we talked about. But it was very rewarding just to see it there and being able to talk amongst ourselves about it.
Thank you so much, Bridget. And Sharon, you have your hand raised?
Yes, and I'd like to just keep it raised until after the next group goes.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you so much, room 2. Room 3, literacy.
Thank you. I posted, I was posting a link. Oh, shoot. Sorry, 1 second. We had to make it visual, so I was going to see if you could share it. Okay, here it is. So we wanted to look at the 3 bills. We have some language highlighted that we kind of talked through. And one thing, I can't remember the group member, but something key that she pointed out. So our bills were dealing with literacy. You all might be familiar with some of the new literacy policies that have been passed, specifically around how we're teaching reading in schools. You know, the new literacy standards are rolling out this school year. We have House Bill 538, which is all around the Dyslexia Act and all these different things. And so one of the things that one of our group members pointed out, which was really key, a little further down, she pointed out that none of these policies talk about literacy as it relates to kids before they get to kindergarten. And we're an organization that's focusing on birth to 3rd grade. What are we doing for kids before they get to kindergarten? And so I thought that was a key point. So that could possibly be something that BCDI could advocate for, is what does this look like for kids when they're first learning? Because we know that you just don't learn to read when you get to kindergarten. You're learning key things early on. And something else we talked about is speech development. There's research that shows how early speech intervention can help students with reading outcomes later in life. And so we have a situation this year with kids who are in kindergarten. These kids were 2 years old when the pandemic was going on, you know. And so I was telling the group that I have a lot of students that have been referred for speech screenings because either they were delayed at speaking, you know, they aren't producing sounds correctly. There's articulation concerns from the parents, and public schools are bombarded with speech screenings, and there are not enough speech pathologists to provide the support for students. And so we have a lot of students who need speech intervention and they don't get it in K2. And then when they get to 3rd grade, you know, it's really obvious that they're struggling in reading, even though, you know, schools have tried to put reading interventions, but a lot of it has to deal with how they were developing sounds to learn how to read early on. So big implications with speech, and that does not show up anywhere in these literacy bills, and speech and reading go hand in hand, kind of like math and science. And then we talked about just in our BCDI statement around what we're advocating for with literacy, there's a piece around culturally relevant curriculum. And so what does that explicitly look like? That piece, we feel like more advocacy around culturally relevant practices needs to be addressed. And maybe even in our BCDI advocacy statement, I highlighted in red that we add something around early literacy practices, because then that shows that we as an organization are concerned about what literacy looks like even from birth to 4, before the school systems are actually like focusing on it. I'm going to let my team jump in because they may have some other things, but we had a great discussion around these policies.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Ms. Tanasha is one of our Expand ECE coaches. And so we're grateful for your feedback and your support.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have Sheila Thompson and Sharon Hudges Beck. We definitely want to be respectful of everyone's time. We do understand that this is a rich conversation. It is of importance. There was a suggestion to possibly have more meetings such as this. So when we do come together in October, we have more knowledge of what these things mean, what they represent, but that also gives us an opportunity to share feedback from the coalition meetings. For example, as we work with Gears, they just put together the recommendations for us all to look at, but we are already in our meeting. So this allows us a chance to meet more frequently to have these conversations. Really quick, Sheila and Dr. Sheila and Sharon.
I was going to quickly say about the culture relevant teaching, and then I see with this literacy, they did talk about the culture relevant curriculum, which the teacher, and this goes hand in hand at the bottom. I think they had highlighted that. That's definitely what we need to add in when we talk about the policies for early learning, is that culture relevant part that needs to be there, because if not, these policies are not going to respect our Black children or our children of color. So we need to make sure that whatever curriculum and whatever they're changing needs to reflect Black children in the classroom. So I'm glad they brought that up for the literacy part. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon, you had a question? Uh-oh. She disappeared.
Hey, thank you, Tatiana. Not a question, but I just wanted to lift up something that Bridget said as she was sharing with her group, and it's something that I remember. I heard Debbie's words echoing in my ear, that once, we've been encouraging everyone to get out the vote, right? And we're looking at policies, but I think the other piece is, once it is passed, we do have to hold our politicians accountable to ensure that the policy is being enforced, and revisit it, because we do know that a lot of times, in order for a bill to get passed, the language that got passed was not the language that was originally submitted. And so we do have to be mindful and keep a watch on the bills that we're looking at, and make sure that the language is inclusive of what we really need for our constituents, meaning Black children and families.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you everyone for your feedback. We're going to work together as a team to put all of your thoughts and information together. We will send it out either within our newsletter, but we will also update our website with this information. Debbie? Okay, I think she's trying to. Oh,
Thank you. My screen was going crazy. I was just going to say that one of the things that I think would be beneficial would be for us to have ongoing policy conversations. Because as I'm looking at, for example, the child hunger piece, I'm on at least 3 different coalitions where that's being discussed. So one of the things that we need to do is connect not just with Gears, but with the Farm to ECE coalition. We have G-SPAN that's out here now, that's waiting for people to be involved. So looking at some of the other folks out here that have similar interests, it may not be directed to Black children, but it might be directed to rural children who live in rural areas. So that's something that I'd like to see us do.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Debbie. And as we were looking at the different bills, a lot of them, as Ms. Debbie is saying, came from some of these groups that we have been a part of. So thank you all so much for your feedback. We'll make sure that we share all the updates as we put them together. And Sharon is leading us to our next topic. We do understand we are coming close to time, so we want to be respectful of your time. This meeting is being recorded, and we will be sure to share out the meeting as well as post it on YouTube. So these are some ways to get involved with the general election that's coming up. NBCDI has came up with an amazing Voting for Black Futures toolkit. It is a wonderful document that showcases the work that we can do on behalf of the Black future of our children. So we're going to place a link in the chat, but we'll also make sure that there's Reverend McKinley. We want to make sure that we had the opportunity to show this to you so you can see that there is an additional resource to promote and support our work around voting. A lot of us have been communicating early voting. We understand that the day is November 5th, and we want to make sure that everyone has all the resources they need and are well educated in order to make the best decision possible as we're going to the polls to vote. So take an opportunity, please look at this document. It has great information. We're going to use this on a continual basis because just because voting is happening now, some of these key questions and some of these elements that we're seeing, we want to, as we're working with policymakers, remind them of, you voted on this, but you changed this, you did that, you're not doing that. So this tool is going to continue to be a resource for us as we continue working in our legislative roles. Another resource from NBCDI, our wonderful national office, is a one-pager that talks about what we can do in Georgia to help make sure that our families are able to vote based on the knowledge that they should know as they're going to the polls. So this was put together for us by NBCDI, and it has information that is again relevant to Georgia residents. But what I love about it, it will have all the states. So if you have, I'm from Chicago, so I can call my family and say, hey, don't forget, this is what you need. So again, another wonderful resource provided to us by NBCDI to help us advocate to make sure that we are able to vote for Black futures. So we will make sure you have access to those resources. Another thing we want to share is ways, well, we'll skip over this, but we did a skit with Gears.
Georgia, Ashley Williams here from
Talking about
BCDI-Atlanta.
voting.
We have breaking news from the child care community as early childhood educators learn the do's and don'ts of discussing voting with their families.
We'll make sure that you have access to this video. We did it in partnership with Gears to make sure that we supported the Get Out the Vote effort. So thank you all so much for that. As we are continuing to create activities and resources, we have our civic engagement activity guide that we put out for October. We were encouraging educators, community partners, and stakeholders to take advantage of some of those activities and send us pictures and posts. So here is some of our pictures from our board members and our staff and contract. Those are my kids right there. Those are my two, but showing some of the activities that we did as a part of this. So one of the activities was to take your children out to vote. And as you see, Miss Debbie, she's going out with her sorority to also support her her efforts for voting. There's Nathan, and we have Brittany, and Sharon's picture, she was making a plan to vote. So we wanted to make sure that we provided this guide to our families and communities so they can make sure that they are well equipped to make sure that they're able to be prepared to vote sufficiently when they go to the polls. All right, ways to get involved. We're always seeking donations to continue supporting the work that we do. We continue to have our text to give. We are trying to continue to advocate for Black children. We want bright futures ahead in 2024. So you can visit our donate page to donate to make sure that we manifest bright futures for Black children. We have our amazing board member, Nathan Thompson. He's going to join us for our community cafe on November 19th with guest speaker Alice Oliver. We love them both so much. They are coming from the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy. Please make plans to join this conversation regarding repairing broken mirrors and windows. We have our 6th annual Cultural Responsive Early Education and Care Leadership Summit coming up Wednesday, February 19th. Please be sure to check your email for your 15% discount code as one of your high value benefits for becoming a member of BCDI. We're going to place a link in the chat for you all to complete the survey. As we discussed in our village tour, we had our data team there. And as we discussed in our business meeting, our survey data is extremely important because it allows us to make sure that we are providing programs, services, and resources based on your feedback and based on the community feedback. So please take a moment to take the survey that has been placed in the chat. All right, picture time. We never leave a meeting without taking our picture. If we can get everyone on the screen, if you're able to, and Luna, I'm gonna ask you if you could take the pictures. If you're able to brush your hair down real quick, get the cold out your eyes. I've been up since 6 o'clock. It's been a long day for us. We've been working since 7 o'clock this morning, and we do it because we have a passion for what we're doing. So, thank you all. And so the last thing we would like to share, we continue to share our resources. You're able to download our Nurture journal that is on our website. We also are going to have an upcoming in-person event to help support our lean platform for leaders, educators, and stakeholders. As I mentioned, we have our civic engagement activity guide. Each month we will have an activity guide that we would like for you to download, share, but there's also a survey in the back of each activity guide because again, that survey will allow us to help determine what the next potential activity guide may look like. As always, at the end of each year, we like to share our upcoming 2025 quarterly stakeholders meetings. We'll make sure that you all receive a copy of the PowerPoint or at minimum the recording so you can document this for the future. Let's see what else. Take action, share your story, give today, and most importantly, become a member. We need you. We are looking and leaning on you for support. So please encourage your family, friends, colleagues to also subscribe to our newsletters so they can learn more about BCDI and ways they can get involved through membership, through volunteer work, as well as we're going to have a policy committee team. So we're going to need some people who are well versed in policy that can help support us as we continue this journey. Thank you all so much. We're always grateful for your support. We do understand that this year is a very, very important year for us as we have the general election coming up. We want to make sure that we're able to support families, children, educators as best as we can. So please keep in touch. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. Follow us on social media, tag us, repost, and share our stories. And thank you all so much for a wonderful evening. We wish you well, and we'll see you in January or next month for our community cafe, but we'll definitely see you in January for our next affiliate meeting. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening.